Good morning and welcome to what I hope will be a series of video presentations that I will do on my blog. I decided to do this because I think there are lots of tips that I can offer to help with productivity and setting up your computer. So today I'm going to talk about my setup in terms of my disk drives and my backup copies. I think a lot of translators neglect backup copies or don't do them very often, and sometimes it's because it's really complicated. It can seem really complicated, and I tried lots of different systems until eventually I settled on one using a program called Freefilesync, which I'll open up in a minute to show you how I use that. And but before I open up my actual backup software, I think it's important to talk about my setup in terms of my disk drives and drive letters and that kind of thing. It's important to sit down and come up with a plan. How many partitions do you want? Which partitions are you going to copy where? What do you want on your solid state drive if you have one? What do you want on your other internal hard drive? What do you want on your external hard drive? What files do you want to move between your desktop computer and your laptop computer, etc.? Okay, let me show you how mine are set up. So if I open an Explorer window and I right click on this PC, and you'll see there's this option here that says Manage. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. You need admin privileges to get on there, and I'm now going to click on Disk Management, and within a few seconds it should load up my disk configuration information. Okay, and here I've got a list of all my disks, or all my partitions I should say, and here at the bottom we can see how those partitions are organized. So we'll just ignore disk 2 and CD-ROM. We'll concentrate on the hard drives. So disk 0 is my solid state drive, which is where I have my Windows system. If you have a solid state drive, you should put your Windows system on there because it will run a lot quicker. And the other thing I have on there is this partition that I call Documents. Okay, now this contains all my documents and also my portable apps, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So the things that I need to run, everything that I run on my computer is basically on my solid state drive. The only exception is this partition here called Other, which is where I keep certain files that are, because my solid state drive is not as big, it's 460, it's basically 500 gigabytes. I keep on this other this partition that I call Other, I keep installation files, and I keep pictures and videos, okay, so that they don't take up too much space. Okay, that's basically what I keep on there. Now, in terms of setting up your location for your special folders in Windows, which is my documents, my pictures, and my videos, again, you can do this in Windows Explorer. We just in this folders section, we go to Properties. We go to Location, and we can set it in there, and if we change this it will ask us if we want to move our files over. Okay, so we can do the same with pictures. Okay, so the pictures I have on the R drive, the documents I have on the G drive. Okay, and the same with the videos. Okay, we can set the location there. Okay, now, in terms of the other partitions, I'm just going to load this notepad file. Open this notepad file which explains it all. Okay. Let's try and get this all on the screen at the same time. Okay. So as I said, C and D is on my solid state drive. I've got HIJ on disk 1, and I've got QRS on what's called disk 3, which is my external hard drive. Okay. So what do I use the other disks for? Well, on the internal hard drive, I have a Windows backup, which is backup of my operating system, i.e. disk C. I have now I only do that backup every couple of years or so. The one of the Windows. I have disk I, which is a backup of G. So a backup of my documents and portable apps on my internal hard drive. That's kind of as a security backup. And then J is a backup of my pictures and videos that I use mainly on my external hard drive. Okay, and I keep them on the external hard drive so that I can, rather than on another internal disk, that I can access them easily when I'm using my laptop as well. Okay, and on disk 3, I've got this one called Documents External, which is where I copy. This is a copy of partition G, and this enables me to move. Basically, I copy this over to Q before. If I go on the road and I need everything on my laptop, I copied it onto Q, and then I get on my laptop and I copy everything from Q onto G on my laptop. And then other I already explained, and this one called spare is when I do my backups. If I've deleted any files, they are also deleted on the backup, but then a copy is made in disk S. Okay, so it's a kind of it's a security measure, if you like. It means that whenever I delete any files, rather than getting deleted from all my disk partitions, one copy is still made, so I can retrieve that if I need to, if I delete something by mistake. Okay, now to make it easy to switch between my desktop and my laptop, I have exactly the same setup on my on my laptop computer. Well, almost the same setup. I only have one internal disk drive. Okay, so I have on my laptop, I have this C drive with my Windows system, and I have G drive with my documents and portable apps. Okay, which when I've copied them on my desktop computer to my external hard drive, I then copy them from my external hard drive to my laptop computer. Okay, and yeah, I've got these. Obviously, if I'll have my external hard drive plugged in if I'm using it, and the same drive letters. Now, how do you set these drive letters to make sure they're the same on both computers? It's quite straightforward. We just right-click on one of the partitions, and we say change drive letter and paths. Okay, and then we click on change, and we assign a new letter. Now, the only letters available are ones not currently being used. So if I wanted to change this to C, I would first have to change C to something else, and then I think I would also have to restart the computer. Okay, but once you've got this set up, you don't have to worry about this again. You just need to set it up whenever you get a new computer, and then it's done. I prefer to, for my external drive, I prefer to pick letters that are kind of later on in the alphabet, so that if for some reason I want to set all this up on somebody else's computer, the drive letters that I assign won't coincide with drive letters already used on the computer. So that's why I use QRS, for instance. Once you've assigned this drive letter, every time you So for example, let's talk about the external hard drive. Okay, so once I've gone to once I've set a drive letter on my external hard drive, every time I plug that same external hard drive in to this computer, it will be assigned the same drive letter. This is important for in terms of your configuration files, your backups, because everything in Windows is based on drive letters. When you're specifying a folder name, for example, it depends on the we have to say the drive letter. So we want this external hard drive to always use the same drive letter. Okay. Now, because I've set these drive letters, when I open up Freefilesync, which has the unfortunate acronym or the unfortunate extension for its file names FFS, I can specify these drive letters in my backups. Okay. Now I explained earlier what each drive does. So this one here I've got called all backups, and so G gets copied to disk I, but also to disk Q, and disk R on my external hard drive gets copied to my internal hard drive, sorry, here, as J. Okay. In addition to that, I also make copies of my configuration files. So this refers to kind of my layout in Word or in Excel, my macros, my templates, all that kind of thing. So so for each program that's not a portable app, that has to be installed on the system, and I want to keep any macros that I've done, or if I've made certain menus visible or invisible, anything that I've configured in a program, I need to find out where the setup files are, usually in C users, then your username, then app data. You can usually find them in there somewhere in, sometimes it's in local, sometimes it's in roaming, and make a copy of them. So here you can see the configuration files for the folders you need if you want to copy the configuration files for Excel, for Microsoft templates, for Perfectit if you use Perfectit, Infix. AIT is for Translation Office. Now, in Translation Office, by the way, your main database file you can set by going to just give me a second. I'm moving that on the other screen so that you don't see my client names and stuff. But if you go into the settings menu and click on database, then this opens up, and here you can click on transfer database, and you can set the location. So in my case, I put this on my G drive, and in my Translation Office on my laptop, I've also got it set up so it looks for the same folder. Okay, so I can always access my Translation Office database. But what we're actually copying here with this folder is things like the column width, the columns that are visible, that kind of thing. Okay, memo queue. There are 2 folders I copy over for memo queue, or 3 actually. There's this Kilgrave CP client. Nightingale is what I use for listening to my music. So this copies over. This will keep my excuse me. This will keep my library file with my play counts and all that kind of thing. And then obviously Freefilesync, so that if I change any of my setup in here, it gets copied over. Now for two of these folders, the two MemoQ ones, I apply filters. I have to exclude this license dot to the asterisk dot dat. This is to exclude the license files, which I'll show you. So C users, where am I? Timothy Barton, app data. By the way, to access some of these, I noticed that this one is, the folder is slightly faded. This means it's a protected system file, so you need to make sure these are visible. This is one of the first things you should do on a new computer. So we go to View, Options, and View, and we want to kind of show hidden files, and we should by the way, this option is normally selected by default. I recommend that you don't select that. And I thought there was another option. Restore previous. Okay, yeah, this one, hide protected operating system files. I would unselect that as well. Okay. I've not actually changed anything myself, so I'm going to click cancel. So you may need to change those options to make sure you see these folders. Now, I was looking for the MemoQ folder, so roaming, and then MemoQ. Yeah, I believe the license files were actually moved. So the one we're actually interested in, so you probably don't need to do that filter, is this one. So C program data, let's just copy and paste that in. Okay, yeah, so this license 12.dat, license 11.dat, I need to make sure that these don't get copied over to my laptop. Why? Because these license files are specific to the serial number on a certain computer, and on the other computer you've got a slightly different serial number. If we copy that folder, if we copy those files over, then our MemoQ won't open, and we won't be able to get on MemoQ if we're not online. So it's important to set this filter. Okay, and the reason I use the question marks is so that when a new version comes along, it will still, so it doesn't matter if it's license 11.dat or 12.dat, we just put in 2 question marks there. Okay, so these are excluded from the backup. Okay, so once this is all set up, the other thing is the general synchronized settings. We want the option mirror. Now, what does this do? It means if we've got any new items on the drive that we're copying, it gets copied over. If we've got any files that have been modified, the modifications get copied over. If we've got, we'll ignore that column for now. Yeah, right side is newer, it also gets updated, and if an item only exists in the backup, i.e. we've deleted it on our working drive, then it gets deleted from the it gets deleted on the backup drive, but we move deleted files to the S drive, which I explained earlier, and I've selected this versioning, which means that yeah, if a file gets moved there and the same file name already exists on the S drive, then it adds the date in there. Okay, so that's basically it. So then we go to synchronize, and we start the synchronization. Now I should close Firefox actually, because I'm backing up Firefox files. and I'm just going to move that to the other screen a second to hide it, so that I don't reveal client names and that kind of thing. So it's making that copy, and usually takes a few minutes. So yeah, while we're discussing that, let's let me open up in Internet Explorer, which I don't normally use, but since I don't back up that browser, I can use it without affecting the backup. So I'm going to open up portableapps.com. Okay, it's really, I really hate this browser, which is why I never use it. Now, the advantage of portable apps is that you don't have to kind of faff around looking for the where the configuration files are, because with a portable app you can just install it straight on your on the drive that you back up, in my case the G drive, and the whole thing gets moved over to the new computer. It means also when you update your portable apps, you don't have to update them on every computer, because it's all on your portable drive, if you like, which you can then move onto the other computer, straight onto the other computer. Now if I go to apps, you'll see there's a big list of apps. They're all categorized. Let me lower the screen resolution. So accessibility, development, education, games, graphics and pictures, internet. So here we've got Thunderbird, for example. We've got Firefox, VLC media player, and you can, when you install these, you get this handy little menu where you can open them all up from. Okay. So where possible, I recommend using a portable app, so that we don't have to set up the configuration files. Done. Obviously you can, you know, go make a cup of tea while it's doing this and come back. Okay, that's done. Now what I would normally do, as I explained earlier, I copy these configurations to the G drive, to a folder in the on the G drive. Okay, so this is actually still on the same disk, my solid state drive. So an internal drive in a specific folder, C drive config files. Okay. However, to move these onto my laptop, I need them in I need them on my external hard drive. Now, although I do copy then G to Q, because these files, because when it scanned my system, these files had not yet been copied over to the G drive, these configurations will not have been included in the backup copy. So what I actually have to do now is close Freefilesync so that it forgets everything it's already scanned, then reopen it, okay, then I'll run all backups again. Okay, now this time it will run a lot quicker, but it will just copy over those configuration files. Now I'm going to click on cancel there because I don't need to do this right now. What do I do when I get onto my laptop? Well, I use this configuration called restore backup. By the way, any configuration we do, we can save here. So I have this one called restore backup, and basically it's exactly the same, except that everything that's where before I had C to G, now I have G to Q. Sorry, G to C. Whereas before I had G to Q, I now have Q to G, okay? And this was really easy for me to set up because all I had to do basically was for each, so I just had to click on swap sides here at the top. It moved everything over, and I removed these ones that involve my my internal drives. Okay, so it was really quick for me to do this. So I just clicked on swap sized, and then I click on save as again, and I save it as restore backup. Okay, I'm going to go back to what I was on. Now the other thing I mentioned is this one called daily backup. So all I copy here is my translation memories. It's called Deja Vu memories, but I actually have my memo queue memories in there. Thunderbird, which is my email, and projects, which contains all the work that I'm working on. And this backup I'll do, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes even at lunchtime, just to make sure that everything I'm worked on has a everything I'm currently working on has a backup. Okay, so this one is quite a quick backup to do. So that's basically it. I realized this was quite complex, but for me, this using Freefilesync has worked. It's very quick for me to do my okay, it takes about 5 minutes to run the backup, but I can go do something while it's doing that. And yeah, it's a really quick system, and it means that I have all my files on my within about 10 minutes I can get all my files on my laptop. I don't need to have an external hard drive plugged in while I'm using the laptop. Likewise, I can then move all the files back again, and I'm up and running on my desktop again within about 10 minutes. So I hope you found this useful. Some of my future video blogs will be hopefully a lot simpler. But yeah, I hope you found this useful, and watch this space for future videos. Bye.